Good evening, short story writers. This will be an incredibly quick episode because it's about voice again, and it's simply the ignore it at your peril advice to not have more than one kind of voice. So you shouldn't have first person and third person in the same story. I know James Patterson does it all the time, and I can't read his books because of it. They're real page turners. They're very, very good. But once he goes from third person to suddenly first person, and he changes mood as well. He goes from action to suddenly. I think there's one where there's a father-daughter reunion, and it suddenly becomes all kind of mushy, soft focus, almost like romantic fiction. It's totally ink. So that'd be another thing as well. So stick to one person. Either make everything first person, and if you've got to give two different points of view, Raymond Chandler's Philip Marlowe, and in one scene, and then the villain in the next scene, and they're fighting against each other, and it's almost like a written account where you've discovered the journals of both, then that's okay, I guess, but don't suddenly become third person, because that would imply that the person who's saying, I did this, I did that, as if they are now the storyteller, but from the point of view of what's happening in scenes that they couldn't really have known. So they wouldn't have been able to describe it. They wouldn't have known what was going on internally in the third person. It's jarring. It just does not sit well with the reader. But you've got to understand that a reader, well, a publisher, certainly, remember the slush pile. They're just looking for any excuse to get rid of yours, because it's just one less done. The tick, done, next. And they're overwhelmed. They're reading these things on the subway home. They're reading them at home. Theirs is not a 9 to 5 job. It's a get up in the morning, read while you're brushing your teeth, and so on job. And also your ordinary reader. I'm not saying they're looking for an excuse to dislike you, but if you do jar with them, and you bring them out of the story that you're telling them, and they start questioning what's going on here, then you've effectively, it's like waking somebody up who's sleepwalking. It's not good. So stick to one, either third person, first person, or if you want to experiment, second person. Bonfire of the Vanities does this, apparently. It's a second person, but it's not recommended. It's almost like a first person, but saying, like I just did, it's like a narrator rather than not just a narrator, but somebody who is speaking to you in a live situation. So you are there as an audience in, say, a concert hall or a reading room, and they are reading to you or recounting to you. Might work, and if you're a very skillful story writer, you might be able to pull it off. The only problem with it, the couple of occasions I've discovered it, Charles Dickens, it wears thin pretty quickly. It's got to be done with just the right amount of charm, and charm is needed. You cannot be... You're basically becoming the third person, omniscient, but then speaking as if you were face to face with your audience. Okay, so stick with one. Don't mix and match. If you want to find out why, then try it. And if it works for you, if it's absolutely fantastic, but make sure you are 100% honest about whether it works or not. And if in any way you think it makes you cringe a little bit, or you think it doesn't quite work, just pick one. Pick one. Okay, right. As usual, if you found this useful, please like. If you disliked it, then hit the dislike button, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good evening.